All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ramcast. I am your lovely, lovely main host, Savannah, and I know it's weird. I'm on this side of the table now. We have our other hosts, Alex and Landry, and then we have our lovely guest, Jude Erasmus. I said that right.
Guys. Yeah, Jude Erasmus, that's it. Thanks for having me.
So we'll get started with a kind of funny question that we thought up, but where have you been? Because we've been trying to schedule this since November.
Wait, let me check.
It's been a while.
It's before the end of the year, so why don't you get into that real quick?
Yeah, first and foremost, thank you guys for having me. It is a pleasure to finally be featured on the Ramcast, so I'm super excited. But yeah, I mean, during November, during December, we were wrapping up the first semester. I was incredibly busy with all of the different clubs, subjects. So at the time, I could say Ramcast might not have been a priority for me. I don't want to make any excuses, but now it's the start of a new semester. I'd love to get my story out there. I also had a little bit of a bout with sickness, so I wasn't at school for a week, 2 weeks or so. But yeah, I'm back, I'm healthy, feeling better than ever, and I'm just happy that I'm here in person. Now we can make it happen.
Well, so now that we know why you've been avoiding us, it's good to know. Where have you been around the world,
Yeah, so I think a good place to start for that question is where I'm from. Born and raised in South Africa. I was born in Port Elizabeth, which is a coastal city on the southern portion of the country. And then I spent my early days in Jeffreys Bay. Jeffreys Bay, it's a tiny town. The only reason people might know it is because of the Billabong Surf Pro competition that they have once a year. So you'll see names like Kelly Slater, all the best surfers in the world go there. So small hippie town, that's where I grew up. Then my middle schooling days I spent in Port Elizabeth. We moved back to the city. So I spent a large portion of my time there. Moved to the United States, going into high school, spent time in the United States. My father, Billy, he lives in Australia, in Melbourne. So this past summer, right before my senior year started, I did a month stay in Australia. Along with that, I also did a month stay in South Africa because I wanted to visit some family at home. But no, I've been to Europe, the US, Africa. So I would say that I have quite a bit of experience when it comes to traveling and just being a global citizen, so to say.
You just need Asia and Antarctica, and you got your checklist.
Yeah, there we go. Throw in South America as well, and that's perfect.
Yeah. Well, since you've been practically everywhere, and you are quite special to the school, we're wondering how being the reigning Mr. MVTHS has affected your senior year.
Yeah, being crowned Mr. MBTHS, I didn't want for it to affect me in any way other than just being another one of my achievements over the years. In fact, I want to honor the other students who participated because that's what really makes the night memorable. So being Mr. MBTHS, going into my senior year, it didn't change anything for me. I just wanted to be the same Jude that entered the high school as a freshman. I'm trying to leave my mark in MBTHS in other fields, in what I've been able to change through clubs and academics, getting some sort of acknowledgement for 5-minute stints I did on stage doesn't define who I am, and it's not going to define my senior year as well as the mark that I leave on MBTHS as a whole.
You mentioned it earlier, but how many organizations are you in?
So I'm in a few organizations on campus as well as outside of the high school. On campus, I am in the National Honor Society, I am in FBLA, I am in HOSA. During my freshman years, I was in Lifesavers, but I haven't been as involved with Lifesavers more recently. I hope to change that, but I do have pretty prominent roles in each of those organizations. So for NHS, I'm the president. FBLA, I'm the president. HOSA, I'm the president. I'm also the president for Illinois HOSA, which kind of governs the state of Illinois. Outside of the high school, I'm in the Cedarhurst Student Council, which I actually had a meeting today for. That's why I'm dressed in this fancy attire. Don't think I dressed up for this meeting, but I'm glad I did because I feel very formal. I do feel very formal. So yeah, with Cedarhurst, maybe I'm missing a thing or two, but the big three are NHS, FBLA, Future Business Leaders of America, HOSA, the Health Occupation
And
Students
you're
of
the
America.
president of all of these?
Yeah.
How do you
Juggle it all.
Yeah, like how do you juggle like being 3 presidents?
I mean, this is the president table. I'm the president of our AV club.
There we go, President AV Club. So I tried to focus heavily on my time management. That was one thing that I wanted to master, essentially going into my senior year. I don't think I'm anywhere near mastering it, but it definitely does help improving in those skills. So I made a deal with myself. I was like, if I go and I put myself out there, if I run for all of these leadership positions, in turn, it should have some benefit for me. The benefits that I've gained, I have opened up free time during my day while having all of these positions of leadership because I know how much time I can allot for certain activities, as well as just planning out my schedule throughout the week. It allows for plenty clarity, and overall, I just feel a lot more confident going into my weeks, knowing that I have my entire week planned out. So it is difficult because every other day I have a meeting, but I know I have that meeting. I know when it's scheduled and why it's scheduled. So I do feel as if I'm in control and my voice is heard since I'm in all of these clubs and I do have a very big control in each club. So I definitely do not feel like it's being in these positions of leadership take a lot away from me. I feel as if I gain a ton being so heavily involved, and I don't let the clubs shape my life. I still enjoy having my free time. I still make time for friends. I still focus on the little things that high school is all about. So I try to balance it all. Sometimes I do feel as if it isn't truly balanced because I just dedicate so much time to my schoolwork, but I'm going to be working on that aspect of balance for the second semester.
What classes are hard for you?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. I haven't really thought that through. Throughout my stay at MBTHS, I've always wanted to challenge myself. I've always wanted to push myself to the next level, whether it's in academics, extracurriculars, and I did exactly that this year. I took as many AP classes as I could. So I think I have 5, one of them being double blocked. The most challenging when it comes to the content that is, or excuse me, the material that is covered would have to be calculus. I feel like calculus in general is just a more challenging subject, but there's just an overarching factor. I wouldn't say the classes are hard. I would say managing all the classes is hard. You have 24 hours in the day. How are you going to spend those 24 hours when you have 8 of them sleeping? The rest of that time is me doing schoolwork, managing clubs. So the classes themselves aren't hard. Calculus, that's debatable, but getting all of the work done for the classes within that time frame is challenging, I will admit.
5 AP classes?
Along with the 3 organizations you're president of?
That's a lot of hats. That is your head okay? 'Cause that's a lot of hats on your head, man.
Yeah, no, sometimes I'm not entirely sure, but I always remind myself what the end goal is, and I'm working towards that end goal. So I just take it one day at a time. There's no need to get too caught up in the little things. This too shall pass. I have to remind myself of that each day. So it is a lot to juggle, but at the same time, it's part of the ride, and I'm very excited to be on this ride.
So you're saying you took 5 AP classes. That means you took AP art, right?
Correct.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that in your art project that you have?
Yeah, so for me, art was something that I'm not entirely familiar with. I have an appreciation for art. I took art history my sophomore year. I have not taken any hands-on art classes. So I myself, I have not created any art pieces besides this year. In my free time though, I do a lot of fly fishing. Well, the free time that I have, I do a lot of fly fishing. So I do have an appreciation for tying flies, and that just means you use natural and synthetic materials to create a lure that imitates a bait fish or some sort of insect so that when it's in water, a fish is attracted to it, and that's how you catch the fish. So I thought, since I don't have experience in ceramics, since I don't do a lot of drawing, this could be my way to make a success out of AP art, and that would be through the flies that I tie. Except I wanted to do it on a more grand scale, and I wanted it to tell a bit of a story. So my story is seen here in this fly. I don't believe I have a name for it, but it is made up of all sorts of materials. I believe this is impala hair. Here we have different types of synthetics, hooks, different types of, I hear more synthetic materials. All of it really is to tell my story. I'm an African boy, I'm a South African boy, born and raised, and I wanted to pay homage to South Africa through my flies. So that's where the use of native materials is seen in this, the buck hair, essentially. And my hobbies, fly fishing, I'm just tying it all together to create these flies, and I'll be creating them throughout the year. I will say AP Art, it's instructed by Miss Michaels. I absolutely love Miss Michaels, my favorite teacher on campus, or one of my favorite teachers on campus, not to discredit any of the others. But I knew going into art it would be a challenge for me because I'm not a naturally artistic student who just goes out and creates art pieces. So maybe to answer your earlier question, AP Art has been a challenge, but it's been a different type of challenge. It's been a challenge that has forced growth, both in my academic learning, as well as my development as a person. It's kind of beaten me down, and it's taught me that it's okay to not always focus on getting 100s. It's okay to not always feel like you're in control. Sometimes when you're taking the backseat approach, you understand where you are and where you are going. So that's why I'm so grateful to have had the experience this year to take AP Art, because I'm getting a lot out of it, and also some pretty cool art pieces, through it. So
Yeah. So we know what your hobbies are. Was it fly fishing or?
fly fishing, that's seasonal.
Oh,
So
okay.
mainly during the summer. When it comes to throughout the winter, just every day, I enjoy powerlifting and bodybuilding essentially. So that does keep me busy.
So we know what your hobbies are, but is there anything you're not interested in? Because you seem to be able to do anything.
Jack of all
I don't think I've
trades.
done mock trial, and I don't really have any interest in doing mock trial. So maybe you could say mock trial. That was just the first thing that came to mind, because I believe they're starting their meetings on Tuesdays and Thursdays this week. So no, I'm open to all sorts of aspects of life. I feel like wherever there's room for growth, then that's another opportunity that I can add, because at the end of the day, we all have our own skill sets, and we're all adding to our skill sets on a daily basis. So I'm going to take advantage of each opportunity that I get, and I do not feel as if there's something that's too daunting, because I know the end result will be me gaining something out of it.
What's some advice that you'd give to younger kids, the freshman, the sophomore?
Yeah, that's exactly it. So the best advice that I could give to anyone, especially students who are entering high school and are wanting to be highly successful, whether it's in academics, extracurriculars, is just to really put yourself out there. Put yourself in unfamiliar situations. You want to get comfortable in being uncomfortable. I preach that all the time. You want to be comfortable in being uncomfortable. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? So at the end of the day, you aren't always going to be in these situations where there's a clear answer in sight. You're going to have to work your way through it. That's going to teach you persistence. It's going to teach you dedication. It's going to teach you all those life skills that you need to be successful in medicine and business, whatever it may be. So if you are a freshman, I would challenge you. I would say, take the hardest subjects, perform in the areas where you are least, where your attributes do not lie, so you can work on those attributes, if that makes sense. So put yourself out there, challenge yourself, take harder classes, and surround yourself with people that you wouldn't normally surround yourself with. I feel like high schools are very cliquey in the sense that there's distinct groups of people. I mean, when you look at the old high school movies, there's like
the word cliche.
No, it's click.
Click.
Oh,
Click is the group, and
There's
then
click
cliche.
and cliche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
cliques, like you have different gangs of people. So I think of like your typical high school jocks, like in the movies, and then there's the weird kids, and
Which is all of us.
Yeah, the nerds.
not necessarily, and that's why I don't like to think of it like that. I like to think that your high school experience is made by the people around you, and at the same breath, you make everyone else's high school experience. By avoiding all of those stereotypes and focusing on a more united student body, I think that you will get a far more diverse high school experience, and there'll be far more opportunity in having friendships and relationships with everyone. So if you're a freshman, I'll tell you, be inviting. Invite the quiet student over, talk to them, form a bond with them, and don't get too caught up in the little things. Don't get too caught up in high school popularity, whatever it may be. That will all fade. That's guaranteed. That's only temporary. Think long run, think long term. What can you add to your life? And at the same time, what can you add to others' lives around you?
You're a very, very good public speaker. Like,
Well, he's 3 presidents at the same time. What do you expect?
yeah, and I was going to lead into that, and I was going to say, what are you going to do with all of your experiences that you've had? Like, are you going to run for a presidential office, or are you going to run for something else, or what are you going to do after high school?
I would love to run. Why not? Let's be the president of the United States. I can't.
The biggest seat, the biggest
Yeah.
hat. You want the biggest
I
hat.
want the biggest hat. I can't. I was born in South Africa. But the reason why I've seeked out all of these opportunities is to, like I said, just work on my skill set. So whether I actually use them in some form of politics or whether it's just day-to-day life, I would like to have the most refined skill set possible, just so I seem a more well-rounded individual. And if that means I have to be the president of 3 organizations, so what? I enjoy it. I enjoy the process. I like to prioritize the process over the end result. That way, I don't worry too much about what the end result will be as long as I'm enjoying it. So right now, I'm very caught up in all of the academics. I don't think that being the president of all these organizations will have an immediate effect in college, because that's obviously the next goal for me, is going on to college. Maybe I'll join some sort of student-run organizations. I know clubs like FBLA has a collegiate level, HOSA has a collegiate level, but I'm also wanting to enter a very competitive field in medicine, and any type of ability to make me stand out will be great, because it is highly competitive. So maybe if I'm a good public speaker, that translates to great bedside manner. I don't know, but it's just part of the process and I'm enjoying it.
Yes, jeez. Whew, boy, like...
Medicine's very hard to get into, so I'm going to give you a pat on the back for even attempting it.
I would, but...
You-
can you leave? There we go.
Pass it on. Pass it on.
No, my grandmother was a nurse, and she was like, man, it was hard to get into nursing school, and then I had to pay for it.
Yeah.
That was
So
the harder part.
So you're very strong... Oh, what's the word?
You've done a lot of power.
Academically, that's the word. And you said you powerlift, right?
Yes, that's one of
Come
my...
on, come on. You gotta give us like a show. Come on.
You got anything?
You gotta like. Can you lift a table?
Oh, God.
Is that a smart idea or?
Why do we get a Mr. MBTHS replay? I feel like there's a video of me dead.
Yes,
Probably
it's
is.
that. Roll the clip.
Roll
Roll
the
the clip.
Roll the clip.
That's probably safer than having him lift a table where there's cameras in the
Just
room.
lift
and
Savannah
lights.
in the seat. It's
Yeah,
fine.
there we go.
That's what Macy can do that. I'm not that big. Jeez.
Well, I think it's time.
I think we got a little too chaotic at the end.
Well, that's
That's all right.
that's Ramcast.
You
Yeah.
would be great at TED Talks, though. I think you'd be excellent at TED Talks.
I'm open to it.
I could see it. I could see it. Jude Erasmus. How I was awesome in high school, but how I was stressed.
Yeah.
Savannah, you're the main host.
All right, let's take us out. This was the Ramcast. I would love to thank our lovely guest, Jude. Round of applause.
Thank you guys once again.
Our lovely hosts, me,
Alex.
Alex and Landry, and then our lovely crew, which are our normal cameramen, Jack and Bennett. We have our lovely Mr. Golson. So we'll turn the cameras. We have our lovely Mr. Golson. Macy's probably hiding.
Yeah, come on, get up.
James is back there. Cody is back there. They're all great. We love you guys. Even though this is where I'm. This is the end of the line for me. Macy has already decided that she was going to murder me for some stupidity. So I guess this was my last Ramcast, everybody. Goodbye!
Bye-bye.
Cheers.